But if you doubt, chances are that you won't receive answers to prayer. In James chapter 1, it tells us there that if we pray for wisdom, that God is generous and he'll give us the wisdom that we need. But then he also gives us a very important warning about doubting and praying. It says this, that when he asks, he must believe and not doubt. Because he who doubts, and this is how he describes doubt, he who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That man should not think that he will receive anything from the Lord. I read that this week, and it reminded me of an event that happened a couple of years ago where I gained an entire new respect for the ocean. I know it's big, and I know it's got sharks in it and things like that. But I took a youth group to Pensacola, Florida, and dumped 24 or so kids into the ocean with a handful of those who were the adults along the way. And they spent most of the afternoon swimming in that ocean. Now, the night before, I had bought a brand new bag. And this bag had a cinch on the top, and I had that with me that day. I decided that would be my bag for the beach. And I put in there all the things I had, and I put in there my keys as well. Throw my keys right on the top. Well, that bag got wet. An event happened where that bag got wet. I had to hand it off to another child that was with me. And by the time I got back to the bag, after that event happened, I had some older youth that asked me to go to a mall across the street. So I grabbed that bag and headed over to the mall. But I was the van driver, so as we were heading across the mall, I wanted to make sure my keys are in there. And I opened the bag, could not find my keys. Dumped out the bag, could not find my keys. Headed back to the beach, figuring that when I handed that young man the bag, that we were about this high in water, that the keys got lost. So I went back to the beach to look for the keys. Here's a beach, no lifeguards, anything like that. We've got all our kids out there. I've left about a half dozen adults there to watch them. I get back there, and my music minister, administrative pastor, is out there with one of the female sponsors, and they are about out to here, and they're yelling at some of our middle school kids who are out in the water. And these kids are out farther than they need to be. And I'm over there looking for my keys, and he kind of lets me know he's going to go out there and try to bring them back in. Well, I'm looking for the keys, and I look for them about 5 minutes. I look back up, and the kids are way out now. And my music minister and the gal that's with him, they're out there about up to here, standing side by side, yelling at them. So I put the bag over on the beach, and I start heading out there. By the time I get out there, they're both on their backs. Some of the kids are making it back around. He told me later, they were totally exhausted, and all they could do was yell now. And there was one girl that was left out there that couldn't get in. The rest of them made it in. Shiloh and a bunch of them like fish, and they were able to get back in. But one girl did not get back in. By the time I got out to her, the first thing she said to me was, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." But you know, that day, I keep that bag in my office today, but I gained a whole new respect for the ocean that day and for riptides. And doubt is like a riptide. These kids had no idea it was carrying them out. Even us adults had no idea what was happening to our kids. But doubt is like, described here by James, it's like a wave of the sea. It's blown and tossed by the wind. You get caught up in it, and it takes you farther and farther and farther, and you don't realize you're being carried away with all this emotion and all this discouragement and all this lack of faith, and it's pulling you farther and farther and farther into danger, and sometimes you can't be returned. And James warned of that. That's why Jesus said, don't quit, but pray persistently, but don't doubt, but pray positively. You don't need to doubt God. God is not a person who needs to be doubted, because God is waiting to answer the prayers of our life. Many Christians pray today, but not many of them expect answers. One of the ways you know that is that they quit praying. Now, I wonder how long your prayer list is. Not the list of prayers that you're going to pray tonight, but the list of prayers that you quit praying because you gave up. You quit. You lost your faith in the God who was waiting to answer. Jesus says to be positive about God and to not lose faith. You know, if I walked into a room and flipped the light switch and no light came on, would I curse Thomas Edison? The light's not on. I blame this on Thomas Edison. No, I'd start looking for reasons why that the light didn't come on. I might look and see if the light's burned out. I might see if the breaker's not flipped. I might see if the power is out for some reason. When you have prayer that is not working out, seems like it's not being answered, the solution is not to quit praying, but to start looking. To start looking for reasons why. It might be a wrong request. It might be a problem with unconfessed sin. It might be the timing is not God's timing. You know, God answers prayer in different ways and in His perfect timing. I want to give you 4